All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Deal Finders Podcast. You are in for a treat. We have an incredible guest today. Nathan Brooks is going to show us how he went from a really bad beginning with a bad partnership, but he took action and got 2 deals out of that and began his real estate career to where he is now after flipping hundreds and thousands of properties and retiring from that flip business. Now he is working and building a community in his local market. Y'all, this is a great podcast. We go through all kinds of information and share action steps, things that you can do today to build your business. You don't want to miss out, so stay tuned, get a pen and paper, and join us for the podcast. This podcast, we are deal finders, right? So we talk a lot about how do we find deals in real estate. So I want to take you all the way back 2 decades ago when you first started, because that is where a lot of people are, especially when listening to podcasts, really diving in, kind of in that education mode, just trying to hear all the options and how do I invest in real estate. And one thing that we found through our meetup and our local students and the folks we've talked to is that those first few deals often come from right in your own backyard, really close, maybe even someone you know, like a family member or something like that. So I like to ask, how did your first deal come? How did you find that first deal? What was it like, if you can remember that long ago?
I do remember distinctly, and I will also give the asterisk. Do not do this. So I was sitting in a restaurant having lunch with either girlfriend, fiance, or wife. I can't remember what stage it was, but overhear a conversation about real estate. And I kid you not, I go around the corner, next booth, talk to the guy, and like 3 or 4 weeks later, I buy my first house. And this first day I bought a house, I bought 2 in business partner with this guy who ended up being a complete liar, thief, whatever. So yeah, it was not a good plan.
Yeah. So you didn't fully vet your partner at the Chili's booth there?
Let's be clear. There was no vetting, no buy box, no plan, no business plan, no vision, but I've been a ready, fire, aim guy, and really it served me well in certain circumstances, and it's also really kicked my butt in others.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's funny because I made tons of mistakes in our first deal. Ended up with kind of halfway partnered with my roommate. And even though everything was in my name, like all the risk, everything was in my name. But, and that's how and then we tore down a wall to make more room for the beer pong table, like all the stupid things you do in real estate,
That's amazing.
But we didn't have, I use this excuse, is we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have podcasts, I didn't have any of this stuff. There was books, but, who likes to read back then, like now I understand reading is great. So I read the books, but I didn't have the connections, I didn't have a meetup, I didn't have people to bounce these ideas off of. So you bought 2 with that guy, right?
Yeah.
How did you find those 2 properties?
They were ones he had already found.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had just brought those as a part of that deal. And I'll just maybe hit this as an interesting or maybe uniquely different thing. So even over the course of my career now, having, flipped and built many, many, many houses over, many years, I have never actually had a wholesale direct to seller portion of my business. So we did all of those, 700 whatever homes with relationships, with community and MLS, and I think people misunderstand, like, if you even haven't built a wholesale business or you're not doing direct to seller yet, there's no excuse that you can't go find those deals.
That exactly. I love that you hit that and you highlighted that, because that's what we found, is that those deals, our first deal was on the MLS. Like, sometimes the YouTube world and all the podcasts and things make it seem so much harder to find a deal and get started, where it's more about opening up your mind, opening up your eyes, and seeing that it's there, they are available, and then taking action. So I will say one good thing from your failed partnership, if you will, is that you found a partner that already had deals.
Yes.
Y'all, we say that all the time with our meetup, and we'll talk about yours in a second, but in our meetup is like, hey, partner up, maybe do a little bit of background check or get to know them a little bit before you actually dive in. But even then, guys, things go wrong with partnerships, but the idea is you take action and you get moving. So so let's talk about your meetup. You said you're launching it, relaunching it. You got a ton of people already there.
Yep. So yeah, I launched it 4 years ago. Bridge Real Estate Investing Meetup in Kansas City. I just started inviting my friends. I had a guy, my coach Gary Harper, who's actually the relaunch speaker of the meetup, come in to speak. Who's a boss and dear friend of mine. And so I launched the Facebook group. We had our first meeting. We had 92 people show up at our very first meeting, and which is awesome. And it blew out the space that we had rented.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people. And so then within 4 months, we overtook the local RIA, who I'm great friends with now, but we overtook them in 4 months as far as their attendance, and now catching up to their Facebook group too, which has been kind of fun to watch. And not that I'm competitive or anything.
No, we're not competitive as entrepreneurs at all.
Yeah, but we have 13,000 members in our group. It's very active. We've had it's actually down just a little bit the last 28 days, but we over 10,000 interactions a month in that Facebook group, and so we've been averaging 125 to 150 people live pre-COVID, and we're 30 days out, or 6 weeks out from the relaunch, and already have 200 engaged to that Facebook event and 50 plus going already.
Yeah.
So all about connecting, learning, helping others, taking action too. Same principle. One other caveat to it, I'd never had anything else for people to go to. So it was a lot of effort on my end, but there wasn't any sort of education. There wasn't any sort of other things that would help produce revenue for us as a company. And so that was where I was like, Andrew, I literally was like, I'm either burning this thing down, and literally I'm hitting delete on Facebook and I'm not thinking about it anymore, or I'm professionalizing it, monetizing it, and making it a legitimate business. So that's where we are today.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so the cool thing about that is, I know if in order for you to have 10,000 interactions, 13,000 people, is those folks are actually getting something from the group that you've curated and put together and brought the people in. You've got the right type of people that are giving. It can't be take. Folks have to be giving to each other in order for them to build that community. And that's phenomenal. And it's funny. Gary Harper was actually our second speaker when we opened up 5 years ago.
Amazing.
Isn't that funny? So we're here in Columbia, South Carolina. So our group is much smaller, and but we have the same intent, where it's build a community and help each other go down the road. We actually had a closing yesterday with one of our members who's in the Deal Finders Club, and we were there with a couple of members, and I asked him how did you get to this point? And he literally was talking about other members in our group that he met through the community, and how they kind of taught him, hey, check student rentals out, and they shared ideas. And then, like you said, it became competitive. He's like, well, geez, he's already bought 2 this year, and this is my first one, so there's a little bit of that, but you can't have that without a community of givers that are there. And I don't know what this space was like, in real estate. My first house was 14 years ago, but I didn't know anybody else. I don't know what the community was like 15 years ago, but I can tell you right now, real estate investors are the best community folks. Bigger Pockets, like,
Yes.
you've got a lot of info and connections with Bigger Pockets. I feel like maybe they started it. I really do kind of think maybe they started that ball rolling of get together, community, help each other, build each other up, and everyone will succeed. So
Agreed.
that's awesome. And so let's talk about Bigger Pockets, because I know you have connections with them and your book that's out. I would definitely want to let people know about that. So tell me, I guess Amazon's the best place to buy it, or what?
It's actually, so the cool part, and I have it sitting right here because it's fun to share and hold your own book, which is pretty wild. So No Quitter's Guide to Crushing Real Estate Investing and Building an Extraordinary Life. I didn't want to just write a real estate book. I wanted to write one that talked about not just making money, not just about real estate 101, not just rah, but like, how do we create vision? How do we take a step from where we are, even if we're like, Andrew, there's no way I can go do what you're doing. Wrong. So how can we put people in a place where they have not just have education, but mindset around that? So that's the book. You can buy it anywhere books are sold, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think we've sold the book in 5 countries so far too, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome. So let me dive into that, because you started to go down the path that I wanted to ask you about the book, is that it's not just Real Estate 101, but it says it in the subtitle, the guide to crushing it, right?
Yeah.
Tell me what does that mean, and what do you share it in the book that's different there?
Yeah, absolutely. So to me, I think a lot of times people get into real estate and they all they think about is either like how bad their job sucks or how much they want to make a bunch of money. But we don't really ever define like what is actually crushing it for ourselves. What does it actually mean? So what is my daily experience? What are the things that I'm enjoying in my life? I'm a guy with perpetual hobbies and I'm obsessed about everything. So right now it's hunting and skiing, and I think about all the time, literally like going skiing. Where can I take my skis? Where can I go? How long does there snow?
Yeah.
I just love the outdoors, and I love being able to spend time outdoors, and then of course traveling and time with my family. But all those things don't come about without us literally defining what crushing it is and building that extraordinary life. And how do I calendar it? Like, what does it look like? What am I doing on those days? How am I spending my time?
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. And we talk about it through the book. What are those things? How do we do it? What do I want it to look like? How big is the business? How much does it make? How many employees do I have? We started to think about those things from the front end rather than just like landing there and wondering what to do.
Yeah. And I love that. And I love that you put that in there from your years of experience with the business, and we'll talk kind of, your evolution, but when you can identify and label what is crushing it and what is the business that I want,
yep.
Then when you get there, you can also say, all right, now I get to expand my hobbies or give back some more, just start volunteering more, whatever that looks like. You can then say, hey, I've gotten to that place where I am now crushing it.
Yep.
Let's evaluate and see what's next, right?
I love what you just said in chapter 13, which, by the way, 13 is a special number in my world because myself, my wife, my 2 kids are all 13s of various months.
Wow.
So yeah, 13 is a special one, and it ended up working out in the but chapter 13 is like living that extraordinary life, and living to generosity is one of those things that's literally in this book as I'm looking at it. And I do believe truly that, Bob Berg's book, Go Giver, it's such a beautiful book and it's such a beautiful example. And, we can't truly, I believe we can't truly live the most extraordinary life and the most fulfilled life without having giving and in a real way. And philanthropy goals for me are important, but we can't I don't think we can have that truly extraordinary life without it.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. So yes. So guys, go get the book. I just would encourage you to read that book. There's a lot of really good books for learning how to do real estate, for motivation. We just had David Richter on, which I know you know.
He's great.
And his book is great about, setting up the business. But this book is different. This book is taking you outside of that daily business. How do I build that? And looking at how do I do it? How do I identify what my goals are? And what end game are we going towards? What is crushing it? So that's why I'm glad you went down that road with that. So you built a really big business. You call yourself a reformed flipper.
Yeah,
that's a really interesting and unique way of identifying yourself. But I think it's because I think it's on purpose, and it might be what led you to this book, right? So tell us what were you doing? How big was that business? And then kind of what are you doing today in real estate?
Yeah, absolutely. So we grew exponentially, hit the Inc. 5,000 list multiple years in a row. I had somewhere between 16 and 20, I can't remember exactly, but employees, multiple six-figure a month overhead, owned a big building. We're doing, we're selling renovated turnkey homes and new construction to clients all over the country, all over the world. We're doing, 20 to 30 million in sales for multiple years. And honestly, it sucked the life out of me.
Yeah.
And all that activity and all those deals and all the people. And honestly, here's the other thing too, is there were multiple years where I didn't even look at a single house. I didn't, but it was the management of all those people and the management, all of those things going on. And also not really feeling like I'm living into that extraordinary life. And, which I didn't have that, I didn't have that language at the time.
Yeah.
So it was big. We're buying 10, 15, 20 houses a month, selling 10, 15, 20 houses a month. And it's just a lot. So August of 21, we fired half our staff, and we were like a family. We had great community, great connection with our team, and then continued to actually make it even smaller. So I don't know if you want to make a comment on that or just keep going on the doing.
Yeah, dive into that. I'd love it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So continuing to have those conversations with people and just saying like, hey, I don't think it's really serving you. I don't think, and by the way, we helped nearly all of those people have another job within a week or two. So, we are committed to our people, and it was hard. I mean, it's like sitting in a room telling your friends like, hey, I'm sorry, I don't have a job for you.
Yeah.
If anybody does PI, I'm a maverick. I'm a high A, very high A maverick, but I'm a high B maverick, which means I love people.
Yeah.
And it is painful. But now we're focused on our fund. So slowly and carefully growing our fund. So we have about $4 million in there, and we do deals, bigger deals. So we invested and did our first 7-figure deal in one deal.
Wow.
And did that last year, and have another one, in the pipeline, and working on these things where, hey, what's my 80-20 leverage on my knowledge, my relationships, my opportunities in making, like, think like a sniper, like not like a machine gunner. Like what's my sniper shot at this at a bigger, better deal. Also buying, I told you, started an Airbnb, really focused on Airbnb in just 5 deals with one partner last year. We'll have over $400K in gross revenue just off 5 houses. So cash flow is still important. Net worth is still important, but just I'm taking my time on finding those right deals, finding those right opportunities, and then growing my meetup in our community and live events. So that's what I'm focused on. All of it.
just one or two things. Yeah. So I love that. And one of the things that I think you mentioned it, and I want to kind of jump on that and go back to it so people don't forget it, is that you said you had this big business, 400 houses getting flipped or whatever, and you never saw a property. You became a business owner, runner, manager of people, right? And there's so many people that are in a business right now. A lot of folks. So I came out of hospitality where I was managing people, right, and dealing with guests and that sort of thing. And so we get into real estate because we want to play with houses, build houses. We like seeing houses and touching it and being part of real estate. And then we end up building a big business, and now we don't even look at real estate anymore.
Yeah.
So that's part of that vision. That's part of that planning that you do beforehand and along the way, so you don't turn around and say, I don't have anything to do with real estate, right?
Yeah. Yes. And that's a really interesting point, because I had never thought about it in the terms of relationally versus business versus, the business of real estate versus the business of people, which, by the way, if you are in business at any level, you are in the business of people.
That's right.
And I think, and of course my 5.5 years of college and my humanities and music degree really go a long way.
Yes.
Business management.
Read P&Ls is exactly what they taught you in music.
100%. Yeah, 100%. We're looking at music theory, might as well be a P&L sometimes. But I don't think people are really prepared for what that means.
Yeah.
And so now, how cool is it to have Andrew and Nathan here hanging out, talking about these things that we both done, both experienced, and to say, okay, now I can think about that. Then I can make a conscious decision about it now.
Yeah. And again, you said earlier, you didn't have the language to identify those issues and things back then. And so I think being part of the community that we're in, the family that we just left, being part of people that are either in your space, kind of at the same level, but then a lot of people that are above and years of advanced knowledge and wisdom. You have to connect with those communities, with those groups, locally, and then when you're available, get outside your local area and connect with those people, because you hear things like this. You hear different language, and you're able to kind of evaluate your business and your personal life in a different way. So, like you said, this is kind of cool that we're able to talk about this stuff because we've come and we've been doing it for years, and now we kind of evaluate looking backwards, like, oh, I didn't think I'd be here,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And so, I know you are coaching some locally there too. Are you doing anything national where people can talk to you about that? Or?
Well, actually, I do some coaching locally, and we're actually building out our coaching right now as well. But I actually also have done some coaching for Gary, and so I do travel around for Sharper occasionally, a couple times a month. I love coaching, being in people's offices and helping. So that's something I actually really enjoy. I love problem solving. Love rolling in and saying, okay, what's going on this quarter? Tell me what's going on. And somebody who's been there, done that, but also can bring some love when it's like the both and of these problems.
Yeah. And so I asked that question because I thought you did do some more than just locally. That this is one of those things where we can take our experience and give it to others and share it. And for me, so God gave me the gift of teaching. That's where, when I was in hospitality, I went to get my master's. I was going to teach at the university here. That was my plan. I was going to keep managing hotels, and then I was going to teach, because that's where my energy came from. That's what I think God gave me, that gift to get up there and show people, hey, this is ABC. This is what you should do. This is what I've learned, and this is the study on it, right?
Yeah. And
thankfully, in real estate, I've found that I can do the same thing. I can share my knowledge and teach people to do ABC 1, 2, 3 and go make success out of their lives. So that's one of the beautiful things of real estate, and that's kind of where I focus most of my time now, because we have a team doing the business, right? Team doing the real estate business, but it's afforded me the luxury to go out there and help other people and build our community. So I thought you were kind of in the same boat there.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So I wanted to hit on this because it's a hot topic. You mentioned the Airbnb. I managed hotels, and when I left in 2018, I said, I don't want Airbnb. I do not want to talk to guests. I don't want to deal with guests. Even if I don't have to talk to them, I don't want to know about their problems, because that's all I did for 15 years or whatever. And I was just anti Airbnb. I just wanted my rentals to be rentals. And then we did it. And the numbers are just too hard to pass up. Yep. So tell me about your how are you evaluating those? And then if you can share maybe how are you buying them? Because I know it's a little bit different financing sometimes.
Absolutely. So how are we buying them or underwriting them? So I've owned quite a few over the last couple of years. I probably owned, 25 or so Airbnbs. We currently own, between a couple of partners and our fund, somewhere between 15 and 20. I don't remember exactly, but I wish I would have never sold the early ones too, by the way. All 700. But what I look for now is great location, something unique that it offers. So is it a location? Is it a pool? Is it close to, I have a property that literally is at the 13th hole of a golf course, 13th green, has a pool. We can sleep 16 people, crushing it. We're doing well over 6 figures a year out of that one, gross. So look for something that's unique, and that, and then I'm also, it's all about the numbers, right? It's got to meet the curb appeal test. It's got to meet the layout test. So nothing weird. I'm not buying any weird houses that look great on paper, but they, sucks in real life.
Yeah.
We're making them nice. So the spaces are nice. They're well designed. They're well renovated. I'm not like lipsticking on a pig, kind of deal. And then, financially, like, it's got to do at least 60 or 70,000 gross for me to even be interested. I'm not looking for the little ones. I'm not, and it puts us in a better, in a price point where we have less competition too. So less competition in the homes, less competition in the marketplace. So that's how we underwrite.
I love it.
So 4+ bedrooms, 2,000+ square feet. If you got homes, by the way, we're looking to buy too. So we're looking in St. Pete, Scottsdale, somewhere in the mountains. So we're on the hunt. Milwaukee, near the downtown, or near that like cool downtown area. So always looking for that. And then
I think you I want to just highlight kind of one thing that you said is it's different. You said you end up in a different bracket or whatever, where there's less competition because the size of the home, the quality of the home. One thing we've noticed, and I think it was 900,000 added units on Airbnb last year. Something insane. But what's being added are just people are like, oh, well, I've got this spot. Maybe I'll try to Airbnb it. I live here, but I'm gone for every other weekend. I'll Airbnb it. You're not going to make money, guys, if you go at it with, I just got this thing, I'll Airbnb it. It's got to be, like you said, you be intentional, be different, whether it's location, amenities, quality, size, be different, and be intentional about making it a business. And that's the only way it's going to work. There's going to be a lot of folks that try Airbnb, and we're seeing it now. They've tried it, and they're like, no, this didn't make any money. Let's go back and rent it regular.
Agreed. And like you said, it is a huge management thing, right? And it's different. It's a different relationship than a tenant relationship. It's a guest experience.
Yeah.
And you need to think about that. And that's why, frankly, I didn't want to do the management, but one of my coaching students was crushing it. I loved his business. I loved working with him as a student. And so he and I have done, multiple millions of dollars now of acquisitions in that space.
Nice.
So, that's how you can say, like, okay, well, what am I good at? Who do I need to help? Can I hire it? Do I want to partner in it? Like, whatever.
Oh yeah.
So, and then on the deal funding side, I use a local hard money lender also on a lot of acquisitions. They're bigger numbers, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 plus homes. And so I still do that too. We still, shoot for sub 80% all in, of cost. And, I have established enough great relationships on the lending side that we still use, local banks.
Yeah.
And we're able to get that. We've established a relationship. We've established a competency with what we do. And now it's more of like, do I get 70? Do I get 75? Do I get 80% of ARV?
Right.
But we've been able to establish and prove out, our competency for that. And therefore we've been able to have really good luck, and establish relationships for lending.
That's great. So guys, what he's saying there is using hard money to acquire and then refinance it, making sure that you're all in is 70 to 80% of the appraisal value.
Yep.
So great. That's pretty much how we buy them too. And same thing, except for sometimes you might get Airbnb. Sometimes you can get creative, but that's pretty typical how we do it as well. So, Nathan, this has been a great podcast. I know your business is you've got so much experience and you've done so much that I know that you gave a ton of value to our listeners here. And I hope that y'all were picking out things that are going to help you, not just to be interested and be, oh, that's neat, but what's going to help you take action today to get to your next deal, right? One deal is amazing, and you can literally make more money than your whole salary, but one deal is not it. You've got to take action to build consistency, build a business so that you can then crush it in real estate, to use your word there. Nathan, do you have anything, since a lot of our listeners are beginners, are trying to get going, get to the next, maybe they've done a few deals, but trying to get to that next level. Do you have any advice, just the last piece of advice for folks getting going?
Absolutely. Well, I would say, somebody who's in that 0 to 10 deals,
yep,
it's to really think about, like, what is it that I'm actually trying to accomplish? So have a clear exit strategy and plan. So what do I mean by that? What am I doing with this house? Am I holding it? Am I flipping it? And why? Like, what is the purpose of this? And then who do I need to help me? So who's on my team? Like, Andrew and I both have or built big businesses. We had people around us to help, but you don't need to have those people on salary. You can hire an inspector, you can hire an appraiser, you can hire a great contractor. And it's more about relationally, how do you engage those people? How do you find them? And then how do you manage that relation, manage that situation? And then the thing that I think most people just don't do a good job of is having a buy box.
Yeah.
Because I tell my team all the time is the killer of all deals, and faster to yes and faster to no.
Yep.
So if we can be faster to yes, how am I faster to yes? I have my financing figured out. I know what kind of homes I buy. I know what area I buy them. I know how big they are. I know the square footage and the beds and bathrooms and, the age range of a home that I will buy. And so the faster, the clearer you can be on that, which is what we call a buy box, then the more easy it is to be able to say yes, or the more easy it is to be able to say no, because we get in these emotional connections or we have an emotional response to a problem that we need to be able to have a logic-driven decision.
I love that. That's key. We have a faster to know little worksheet that we give out to our group because we could just spend so much time spinning our wheels on these deals that will never be for us, right? They'll never work out. So I love that. I love that you gave that advice. So, we went through a lot here, and I know Nathan has a few more things coming out with his business, some things that he's launching here soon. So we're going to make sure that we have his contact info in the show notes. And if you're watching this on YouTube, the comments below will have his contact info, the websites and stuff like that, so you can see some of the things that he's got coming out. And y'all, if you are trying to get started learning this business, there's a lot of information on YouTube, in podcasts. You can listen to ours. Find Nathan there. He's got some stuff as well. But that's not what's going to get you moving. When you're ready to join a community, find one that's local or one that speaks to what you're trying to do. Like Nathan said, what are you trying to accomplish? If you're looking for a group that's going to hold you accountable and help you find that next deal, then you want to check out Deal Finders Club. That's dealfindersclub.com. We have resources there. We also have an application to see if you're a good fit for working with us. If not, or if you're not ready for that step, just get plugged in, find something local. All right, y'all, this has been the Deal Finders Podcast. We will see you next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the REI Deal Finders Podcast. You can find out more and apply to be a part of the REI Deal Finder community at reidealfinders.club.